So in today's video we're going to be working on this engine. This is a as of yet unknown make Alco FA1 Milwaukee Road. Somebody's custom painted it to the Milwaukee Road colors. It's an all die-cast thing. Has kind of like a Varney looking motor in it. It could be a Varney, I'm not sure, but there's nowhere on it that actually says what it is. So it's a very simple drive system though, there's hardly anything in it, so it's probably going to be very easy to work on, at least I hope so. And in this video we're going to be working on it. The motor does spin just a little bit if you turn up the power all the way on the controller, as I shall now demonstrate real quick. If you turn up the power most of the way and put the contacts on the wheels, let's see, focus. You can see it there, but it doesn't hardly do anything. It tries to move, and the motor's not stiff really either. I can move the motor pretty freely, but in this video we'll be taking the engine apart, so we'll get that going right now. So this engine is relatively easy to take apart because it's only got 4 screws total holding everything together. There are 2 for the front truck because the front truck is a separate piece than the back. So 2 pieces holding it on. There's a kind of fiber material insulator which holds the wheel, and I just dropped that screw on the ground, which is lovely, but you can see the insulator right here that my finger's moving, and you can see that the wheels and stuff have zinc rot on them, which is bad. So I found the screw on the ground, and I'm just going to stick it back in the shell, or just screw it back into the hole that it was so I don't lose it again. It's so small though I can't hardly find the place for it. And we'll get the motor out as well. It's the exact same way to take it apart. Just the 2 screws on either, or 1 screw on either side, and it should come out. And I think that's really all that's in this thing. There's nothing else really that this has in it. And there we go. As you can see, very simple motor design. It's like the Marks ones. Just a regular 5-pole motor it looks like, just with a gear reduction down to it. But the main thing that worries me is the zinc rot. You can't really see it very well here, but I'll move the camera up here, or I'll move this up to the camera. As you can see, the, what do they call them? Truck covers, and the metal chassis has zinc rot on it. There you can see the cracking. This you can't really see it, they're bent a little bit, and all 4 of these have it. On here you can see it especially. Possibly, right there, and on the top. Yeah, the zinc rot's basically just the metal. The metal that's it's usually the cast metal that rots away. That's basically what happens. Is the metal expands and it cracks, and when it cracks, it becomes very brittle. So it can often break and cause a lot of issues. So I don't know if the motor is going to actually do anything, so I'm going to just test it with the test transformer here to see if the motor will do anything more than it did when I tested the wheels. And it doesn't appear like it is, so the motor itself is having issues turning. So let's see if I can just get this a little bit better. Yeah, it's a little bit better, but it's still not very fast. It's speeding up a little bit, but I don't want to hurt the motor at all. So I did get the base off. With the zinc rot on it, it's very delicate, as the best way I can put it. As you can see, it was very hard to get off. I didn't want to break it, so I spent a little bit of time doing that to make sure that I didn't break it. And as you can see, the drive system is just kind of a normal drive system. You see them in a lot of older engines that have this style, like the first generation Lifelike, Marks, Lionel stuff they all have this kind of drive system. So we'll take the wheels out, and most of the drive system just so we can clean it because it is very dirty with like old grease and oil and that kind of thing. So we will clean it out first. So as you can see, this is what I always use in the videos to clean dirty parts and electronics. This is the CRC stuff. They don't sponsor me, obviously, but I just really like this stuff. Quick drying formula this is. You don't have to use this. It works pretty much in the same way that alcohol, like rubbing alcohol does. It cleans off dirty parts. You can use it to clean wheels if you want. It's just that it dries a little bit too quick for that. It's really good for cleaning off oily stuff, but you have to make sure to oil all the parts after you use it because it dries up all the oil is what it does, and then there's no lubrication at all for any of the parts if you don't oil them. But I have oiled the wheels on this thing. I cleaned them and oiled them. I also cleaned off the bearings on this thing and the gears, so after I put some oil on them, they should spin a lot more freely than they used to because they were just gummed up with old grease and oil. As you can see, this one is really stuck. But it's turning a lot better now. So we will put this back in the engine. And before I put all the drive shafts in, I always clean the wheels. I can't speak there. But as you can see, the one on the left is the one that I cleaned, and the one on the right is the one that I didn't. Kind of hard to see, but it's a lot shinier. That can always be a common culprit if an engine is not running very well. Dirty wheels can hinder the performance of an engine quite a bit. But we'll put everything back in, and it should be running a lot better now. I will have to oil the motor and everything just to make sure that it is running alright, but we'll do that. The motor by itself actually runs pretty well. Nothing really wrong with it, we'll just oil it and everything. This electrical cleaner works really good on motor commutators, as I've shown in other videos, when the can does work. This time it's not blowing out very much stuff, but as you can see, sounds like I'm cutting a piece of wood, but other than that, the thing runs really good. So to be honest, this engine can't get any simpler to put back together. There's only the 3 pieces really to put back together, and then all we need to do is put the base plate back on and put it back in the engine. I put some grease on the gears as well, just to make sure that I don't forget them. So I had to sand down this piece, the base plate, to go on a little bit better. Had to sand down the sides because of the zinc rot. It's expanded enough where it was really hard to get it out, and I don't want to break it putting it back in. As you can see how cracked it is right there. It's not the worst thing I've seen. I've seen some that are a little bit worse. The front truck is definitely worse on this, but the back one, the only thing you can really do about it is you can use glue. That really I don't think will do anything. You can find replacement or new parts, or you can just be very gentle with them. Just make sure not to use a lot of force on them because they will break if you do use a lot of force on them. But see if I can get this back on without anything happening. All that really needs to be done is this needs to be just pushed back down, but I can feel resistance. There we go. So all we have to do now is put the screws back in. Just make sure not to screw it down so tight that it would crack. I've had that happen before. But at least it's only 2 screws that hold it down. So next thing, we will just test this thing to make sure that it actually does run. The motor at least does run on, or with everything put back together, if I can say it. So let's see. So obviously something is still jamming this thing. I'm not sure what, because I can feel the motor humming, and I can hear it as well, but nothing is happening. Oh, there we go. had to turn up the power a little bit more. But it's definitely running a lot faster than it was, and it's speeding up as well. Feel it? That's pretty good. It's speeding up quite a bit. So I'll just clean the front wheels on here, and then I'll put everything back together and we'll test it. As you can see, the front truck has just as bad of zinc rot as the back one did. All the lines in this are cracks, so there's not really anything we can do about that. I'm just gonna have to live with it, really. I don't have any replacement parts for this thing. So now I've got the engine back together, so we're gonna take it over to the track and test it. So there it is on the track. I'm pretty sure it's gonna run, but I have no idea, to be honest. So let's see, turn up the power. I heard something from it. Nothing so far. Is the transformer on? Not sure. I'm gonna make sure that it's actually getting power to the motor. So this engine's been a lot more difficult than I thought it would have been to get it going. So haven't gotten it going yet. I will update you in the next video to see if I have gotten it going at all. I will do some more work to it, but for now, it's been not a failure, but haven't gotten it going yet, so I'll see you in the next video.